What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Jazz Berganzo, what's next? Your daily dose. Hope you guys are feeling good today on this Tuesday. And gonna step out of the realm a little bit. Normally I would grab a story that catches my eye, and especially being politics, because politics affects everything, and just blast it to hell. But in this one, I'm gonna let the man speak for himself. I'm gonna let the words speak out. Who am I talking about? Steven Crowder of Louder with Crowder. And of course, if you've been in I don't know, if you have your head stuck in the sand for like the last 15 years, he's been a staple on YouTube, and calls balls and strikes, from a comedic standpoint. And whether you like it or you don't like it, he don't care. In this clip, he's with Jillian Michaels, and they talk about wokeism and how it's going to affect if we don't do something about it, because this goes beyond Donald Trump.
But what I really, really don't want to hear, okay, is 2 or 3 years from now, when we have Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom as president, and wokeism is back, and it will come back, and you are being deplatformed from Twitter, X, YouTube, all this stuff going down, and kids are being transed, and you have boys being filleted in pictorials in the student library, right? I don't want to hear you people fight back and ask people to hit your godforsaken Patreon.
Facts.
Because you are doing this. You are doing it right now, and don't try and pull another rebrand. You said remove Donald Trump.
Can you talk to me about why is this happening, do you think?
I only know what I see and what I hear. To say that there's no difference, and this is not an excuse for rhinos. I mean, we went in hard on John Thune to a degree with jokes that were wildly sexually inappropriate and borderline hate speech. I think he is an example of a feckless Republican. But to act like
Facts.
Donald Trump is that. I mean, a lot of Americans were really single-issue voters, but let's call them, duo-issue voters, where it was the border and, of course, the economy. The border couldn't be more of a clear contrast between political parties or candidates than I've ever seen in my lifetime. There's no doubt about that. 12 to 20 million illegal aliens, depending on the metrics you use under Joe Biden, versus 96 to 99% sealed up the border. And then the goalposts move, and they say, well, that can just be undone. Well, sure, because some of it's done by executive order. But then we look at, for example, the SAVE Act, and you see feckless people like John Thune who won't get it done. But that has nothing to do with Donald Trump. People go, well, if we can spend money on Iran, why can't we fix Minneapolis? First off, there's no fixing Minneapolis. It sucks. It's terrible. It's where dreams go to die. But the president kind of has powers that are closest to a monarch in issues of foreign policy and war. And it's by design. He can't simply send the military into Minneapolis. And by the way, if you gave every single poor person in Minneapolis $100,000 right now, which you can't do because there are state laws, and then you have a municipality that, by the way, is a sanctuary city, they'd be poor again. So people, if they don't...
Yeah, because people seem to forget how well that went in, I don't know, name a Democrat city. Detroit, New York, LA, Baltimore, Atlanta. Yeah, and now you can throw Minneapolis. And let's not forget about that wonderful, wonderful town of Memphis, who leads the nation in absolute insane crime. Just saying.
Get everything they want, create false equivalencies, and the ultimate message that I see is it's all the same, there's no difference, with no proposed solution.
Facts, 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 and more facts. My thoughts, quickly. Stephen pretty much hit it dead center. Dead center. We are literally 6 months away. Literally 6 months away from things reverting back to what it was during the dementia era. Donald Trump will be a lame duck president. Absolutely. If we do not win the midterms, he will be a lame duck, because it doesn't matter how much executive orders he throws out there. That's all going to be reversed come 28. If we don't get an acts together. He's calling out. He's calling balls and strikes. So for people to think, oh, well, we lived through dementia. We can live through a 4-year era of, God forbid, Kamala kneecaps I'm sorry, what did I say? Kamala kneecaps? I'm sorry, I don't know where that came from. I meant Kamala word salad. Let's call that out what it is. And then you got scumbaggery in Gavin Newsom. Have you seen his wife lately? Anyway, but at the end of the day, we need to get our shit straight. And he's absolutely right when it comes to John Thune. John Thune has been feckless. He's been ballless. He's been emasculated. The dude's a mangina. Let's just call it out what it is. He's a mangina. And I haven't used the word mangina in a while. The last time I used a mangina was when it came to Justin Trudeau, former Canadian Prime Minister. And still stands. Anyway. But when something as simple as the SAVE Act, that will literally, no law is perfect, but at the same time, it will make states accountable when it comes to voting, when it comes to federal election voting. The mail-in ballot voting, gone. Outside of extenuating circumstances, elderly, the military, and what have you. But when you push hard to get John Thune in, as Trump did, and then for Thune to be treating Trump like this, basically telling him to go fuck himself when it comes to the SAVE Act, when you have, Johnson, Speaker of the House, who basically saying that, that we're going to allow Planned Parenthood and give the money back to them after banning them for a year. That was absolutely ridiculous, to have a 1-year moratorium on Planned Parenthood funding from, federal funding. Ridiculous. That should have been an outright federal ban across the board, period, end of story. But anyway, I digress. He's right. Crowder is 1,000% right. When shit reverts back to where it was, don't be bitching, don't be complaining, don't be moaning, don't be groaning, saying why, when you had the fucking opportunity. Because this goes beyond Donald Trump. Donald Trump can only do so much through executive order. And Crowder's right. He has more autonomy when it comes to foreign policy than he does domestic. He can only do so much domestically. He's right. Minnesota's trash. So is California. So is New York under Mamdani. And New Yorkers are finding out the hard way that, you begged for it, you pleaded for it, you got on your knees, you grabbed your ankles and spread your cheeks for it, you voted for Mamdani, and now pay the price. California's been paying the price for years under piece of trash Newsom. Imagine that for 4 years. Imagine that going across the border, across the country for 4 years. Democrats having the House, Democrats having the Senate, and Democrats having the presidency. Because it doesn't mean anything if Vance gets in 28, as long as Democrats run the House and the Senate. It doesn't matter. He will be literally a lame duck president for 4 years outside of executive order on policies and certain domestic policies. And those are just facts. So, wherever state you live in, whichever state you live in, hopefully it's a red one. But anyway, if you live in a blue state, make your voices heard. Make your voices very heard and very loud, because if not, the shit that he just described, it's all coming, and it's all coming fast. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it. Hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.